Arthur Cole of Newburgh, New York, is a self-described eccentric who thought this 8,000 square foot mansion was just the place for him to call home.
I wanted to find something big and old, creaky, haunted maybe, and this is what I came up with, so here I am.
And he wasn't put off by its past either. The 100-year-old home used to be a funeral home. Did friends look at you weird and go, hey, you're buying a funeral home?
Actually, a lot of my friends, my family, girlfriends, they kind of would expect this. They're like, oh, it figures Art would do this, you know, so in a way, I'm just living up to my potential.
The space gives Arthur plenty of room to house his massive drum collection. But he might have changed his beat if he'd known how many creepy things were waiting for him here.
I mean, there was just so much stuff that was packed away that had been left for years that you probably would walk right by and you wouldn't think anything is there. And then as the months wore on, I got around to the third floor in the basement. That's where a lot of things were just packed away years ago.
He found some curious boxes labeled with the letter P. What did that stand for?
I thought it was maybe photograph equipment box.
Arthur was also surprised to uncover two massive safes in the basement. Did you think in your mind, oh man, maybe there's some treasure in there?
Yeah, you can't help but have it cross your mind, yes.
Arthur was dying to know what was in them, but without the combination, that discovery would wait until later. First, Arthur went exploring upstairs, and what he found was spooky. They looked like tiny coffins. What did you think seeing this for the first time?
It kind of startled me, you know, took me by surprise, and then I figured it out. At first I thought it was a miniature casket.
For a really small person?
Yeah, or a squirrel or something.
A squirrel's casket. Arthur would find out what they were really for later. First, in a creepy pantry, he got another surprise. It looked like a closet at first, but turned out to be an elevator. You got an elevator in your house. That's cool.
Yes.
Can I open?
Sure.
Just open this?
Want to go for a ride?
Absolutely. What if I tip you $5? Do you like the elevator operator?
This is usually a one-way ride.
Oh. That elevator ride led to another eerie surprise. The embalming room. So the first time you walked down here, what did it look like?
It was the middle of winter, it was a blizzard, and it was really frightening.
Even though the room scared him, Arthur decided it was worth keeping intact.
It took a little getting used to. I don't spend too much time down here, but it is what it is, and it was part of their life and part of their, you know, their tools and their business. So it's pretty much left, I think, how it was.
The room still contained the original equipment, as well as photos and diplomas of the funeral home's original owners, John Parrott and his son, Dave Parrott.
The puzzle started coming together. So it really gave me a lot of information to know what the capital P on the boxes were.
The boxes with the capital P were used by the Parrotts to carry funeral supplies to wakes. Arthur could see by the diplomas that the Parrotts were ready for fun in the funeral business.
Basically, you were trained for different things. One would be for undertaking, and the other would be for embalming.
And Arthur learned that this was no ordinary funeral home. The family that built it were pillars of the industry.
This is announcing that they're coming into town, dated August of 1935, and they talk about the steps that they've taken to make it more modern. The concept of having an elevator, new limousines, and actually going to embalming school were all cutting edge and very impressive.
Arthur was excited to learn so much about the Parrott family and their funeral home, but he still had to know what was in those safes they left behind. When he finally hired a locksmith, he was thrilled to see that the safes weren't empty.
This is what we did find. A lot of deeds from the 1800s for graves, and they're in remarkably good shape. There's a lot of them, and then they're usually stamped, approved by everybody involved, the church, the funeral people, and it gives your family the right on any given point when you pass away to legally be entitled to a plot at all the cemeteries in the area.
There were also more clues about the type of people the Parrotts were.
We have a letter here from a gentleman who was in World War I advising that I know my wife passed away, I'm in the middle of paying off the debt, I just got out of the Army, I have a new job, I'll be paying you off.
Arthur could tell by the letters that the Parrotts were caring people who didn't turn anyone away, even if they couldn't afford a funeral service when they needed one.
You could see why they were successful and why there was 3 or 4 generations of them and why they were doing it for so many years.
Knowing so much about the parrots and what went on here has made the home one of Arthur's favorite undertakings. But what about those little coffins Arthur found? He was relieved when he realized the small boxes weren't real coffins, they were just samples. And Arthur has given one a refreshing new use.
I filled it with ice and put beers in there, and it works great. It doesn't leak for eternity or for your party.
For Arthur, the creepy discoveries have become a way of life.
I guess because of the sheer size of all the stuff that was here, it was inevitable that some stuff would get left. And I'm very glad to have found it because I really think, sincerely, this belongs with the house.
Arthur plans to open the place up for events like weddings and Halloween parties. He hopes other people will find the historic funeral home as fascinating as he has.
For me, I'd like to offer this to the public, to have people share this, because I think it came out good and the house is amazing. It has a real attitude.